The Baltimore Ravens have a lot of needs in 2024. Who are the free agents that the Baltimore Ravens can't win without? We discuss next on the GM. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GM. It is your guy Boulanger. Up next on the GM roster building 2024. Do me a quick favor, hit like. If it is your first time checking out the GM, hit subscribe. Also hit the notification bell so that you get updates when we upload new content. Let's talk about it. So, as we begin to turn our attention to what the Baltimore Ravens need to do as it pertains to team building in 2024, we're going to start with the most unexciting part of a team, which is the offensive line, but quite possibly one of the most important. When we take in consideration our offensive line, Ronnie Stanley out, John Simpson out, Kevin Zeitler, I'm cool if we can bring him back on a team friendly 2 year, something like $10 million deal, something like that. And Morgan Moses out. Belanger, you've lost your mind. You cannot replace three of your offensive starting linemen. You absolutely can. When you take into consideration, Ronnie Stanley has been subpar for the last 3 years due to injury, and we'd have no expectation and can have no expectation that he bounces back in 2024. We have to cut him and take that $15 million and spread it around evenly. John Simpson was a guy who showed up later on in um, the 2023 offseason, beat out Salah for the starting job, and he did a decent job. But I think at this point, we need more than decent. If we're going to put a team who can run the ball and pass protect on the field, we have to upgrade the left side of this offensive line even more than the right tackle position. But when we get over there and take a look at the right tackle, Morgan Moses, pretty good in the run, suspect in the pass. And I think that Daniel Falele and or somebody we pick up in the depths of free agency, I think can certainly fill in and do just of an adequate job. I would really love to see Daniel Falele get an opportunity to compete for that starting position. You can't find many 6'8", 370 plus pound dudes uh, in the draft or even on the streets in free agency. We absolutely have one that we have under contract for 2 years, which is pretty cheap. I think if we allow him an opportunity to work as the starter through off-season workouts into training camp, I think that he either sinks or he swims. Um, and so I would love to see Daniel Falele get that shot. If not, we can certainly draft somebody or again pick up somebody in the depths of free agency to fill that spot. So let's take a look at a few guys on my free agent list. Let's start with tackle Mekhi Becton, left tackle from the New York Jets. This is a young guy drafted, I think, within the last 4 or 5 seasons, number 11 overall was his selection. A guy who's super talented. He's big, 6'7", 300 plus pounds, athletic, but injuries have certainly derailed his career thus far. 2023, he played the most snaps he had in his entire career. So maybe he is figuring out how to train, how to keep his body healthy, so on and so forth. Also, sometimes when you get with a struggling organization, sometimes that struggle begins to spill over to the players. And that certainly could have been the situation for Becton. And so I think that um, if the Baltimore Ravens wanted to take a look at a free agent who are kind of in the depths of the free agent list, I think he was ranked number 47 from the list I pulled him from. I think that he would be worth looking at both the left and or right tackle position. Another guy on this list is Jonah Williams. We know him from being in the division with the Cincinnati Bengals. He is a guy who started at left tackle, and in the 2023 season, he requested a trade because the Cincinnati Bengals had brought in Orlando Brown to replace him. And Although he rescinded that trade request, he lined up at right tackle and did a fairly good job. He's solid as a pass blocker, needs to improve as a run blocker, but he could be a younger option uh, versus the guy we have at right tackle in Morgan Moses. So I think both of these guys could be options as they're both down uh, in the lower levels of the free agency ranking. Again, Becton 47 and Williams at number 54. I think that we could get either one of those guys, probably 3 years, something like $30 million, which isn't bad for a starting left or right tackle. Too expensive to be just a depth piece. So we would have to bring one of those guys in to kind of compete for the starting job. When we look at the guard position, these guys also in the depths. Both of these guys are ranked 60 or below. Dalton Resner, a guy who was a free agent in 2023. Things didn't go as well. He didn't get a contract like he expected. He goes to Minnesota later on in the year, I think week 3 or 4, and he basically tossed um, the starting right guard. I believe that guy was Ezra Cleveland. He tossed him out the door, told him to go sit down, and he took his spot and performed very well. He's really good in run blocking and solid in pass blocking. And so he can play both right and left guard, but he's better suited probably for a right guard position. And then the last guy on the list is Damian Lewis, guard from the Seattle Seahawks. This is also a guy who struggled earlier part of his career to kind of find who he was and what he was going to be in the league. But over the last 2 seasons, more specifically 2023, he has established himself as a really good run blocking offensive lineman. uh, 330 pounds, kind of a mauler, has a mean streak, a little bit nasty, which is something we could definitely benefit from on our offensive line. So I really like Damian Lewis of the guards. I think he would be great at our left guard position to kind of shore up that spot until you get some development out of Voorhees and or Sala. So those are the offensive linemen that I think the Baltimore Ravens should consider. I think that all of these guys are young, still has some room to grow, and I think we could get these guys at a pretty reasonable and affordable price. Uh, Not that we should go bargain basement on our offensive line, but I think that as you're waiting to see what you have in Daniel Falele, I know we are in a win now mode, but I think that Daniel Falele going into year number 3, it's kind of a right now ordeal. So you can kind of see what he is now. Voorhees had a lot of hype around him up until the injury, and the Ravens thought enough of him to go ahead and draft him and kind of redshirt him his first year. So there's some depth there. Salah's behind him. And so I think we have some young pieces. So I think getting one of these younger guys who can come in and kind of compete, I think will buy us some time until we find the right guys at left tackle and right tackle, at left guard and right guard. So you guys let me know what you guys think. You guys put in the comment section some tackles and guards that you guys have an appreciation for and you think that we could get at a reasonable price down here in Baltimore. So listen, I'm your guy Boulanger. This is the GM. I'm out.